Well, good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to be with you again for another one of our morning prayer times together. It is the 17th of August. It's another start to another week, and I hope that you are well today. I hope your weekend has been good, and I hope whatever you've got planned over the coming week, that it's a good week for you. You can see that I'm not alone. I've got my sidekick with me today. Benki is having a bit of a snooze at the moment, but it's lovely that he's with us once again. Today, similar kind of way of doing it that we've been doing it over the past few days. I'll do a quick prayer to introduce. We'll get into the Bible reading. We're working our way through Mark's Gospel at the moment. And we're now into, where are we? Chapter 12 we are. Just coming to the end of chapter 12 of Mark's Gospel. So we're going to get into that in a minute. And then I do a little reflection on it. And then we say the Lord's Prayer together, and then we kind of go about our day. There is going to be a song at the end of our time together today as well, just to kind of listen to and reflect on as we go into the day ahead of us. Now, the beauty of doing these things online, obviously, is that you can catch up with these whenever you want. They're always here on the YouTube channel. So if you've missed any, or you want to see any other ones that we've done, or any other services, they're all going to be here. We kind of move channels over, so some might be on the Rev Joe K YouTube channel, but a few weeks ago we started the Buckrose Cars Benefice YouTube channel. So if you check both of those out, you should be able to catch up on basically everything that you've missed. But it's wonderful that you're with us, and it's wonderful that we can be together in this way, regardless of anything that's going on around us. So to begin our time together, let's just be still. Let's just be still. And in that stillness, just take a breath. And as you breathe, recognize God's presence surrounding you. So I'm going to pray. Lord God, we give thanks that in the midst of our ordinary everyday lives, in the midst of the busyness of our lives, we can meet with you, that you surround us constantly, and that if we sometimes just stop for a moment, we can recognize you with us. Help us to do that now. Amen. Amen. So like I say, we're working our way through Mark's Gospel, and we're really getting into it now. So we're at Mark chapter 12, and we're now at verse 41 in chapter 12. Now, just a bit of a background as to what's been going on. So we're really into the kind of meat of Jesus's ministry now. We're really getting into that, the kind of crux of it, the core of it. He's got his followers. He's been teaching. He's been doing miracles. He's been doing amazing things. He's drawn huge crowds to listen to what he's saying. He has done extraordinary acts. He's been compassionate. He's shown mercy. He's also been causing quite a lot of trouble. He has been really challenging those in authority, especially those in religious authority. He's been turning tables over at the temple. He has been showing up those who are the priests and the elders of the Jewish faith, that they're leading in the wrong way, that they don't quite know what they're talking about, that their motives are very much self-centered, not God-centered or other people-centered. Jesus has not been pulling his punches, and the trouble that he's been causing now is really kind of heightening that sense among those in authority that they want him out of the way, because he is just a proper troublemaker. So what's just happened is Jesus has been having another kind of conversation with the priests and the elders of the Jewish faith from the temple, and he's been talking about what the greatest commandment is: love the Lord your God and love others, basically. They've been asking, whose son is he? And he's been saying, well, you've got to ask yourself that question: who do you say that Jesus is? And again, he was asking them, who do you say that I am? Who do you say that Jesus is? And we're still in the temple. So the temple was the center of the Jewish faith. It was in Jerusalem, and it was a huge building. It had like a central bit, a central building, which contained in it the Holy of Holies, where the presence of God was supposed to be. And there was a curtain separating that bit from other people. So Very few people were ever allowed in there. Then there was another bit where priests would be allowed, and then another bit where ordinary people around. And then outside that church building, outside that temple, there was a courtyard, and lots of stuff would happen in the courtyard. Lots of people would come to there. There'd be people meeting there. It was a place where people would gather, and there'd be teaching going on and praying. It was a really busy place with a courtyard. But also in the courtyard was a place where you gave offerings. Now, that's quite common to us. If we go to a church building or something like that, we'll often see a place where we put money in. We give a donation. Well, the temple had something very similar. There was a place where you gave a donation. So that's where we begin our story today, is in that courtyard. Jesus just having these conversations with people, lots of business going on, lots of people coming through the courtyard of all different classes. Really, everybody came to the courtyard of the temple to pray, to do what they needed to do, and then to go about their day. And there was this bit there where, when you went, it was expected that you would give some form of offering or donation. So that's where this particular passage is set. Jesus sat down opposite the place where the offerings were put and watched. And he watched the crowd putting their money into the temple treasury. So you see what I mean? You go to the temple, you go to the courtyard, you pray, you do whatever, then you put your money, your offering, your donation in the pot towards the temple. So Jesus was sat opposite the place where the offerings were put, and he was watching the crowd put their money into the temple treasury. Many rich people threw in large amounts, but a poor widow came and put in 2 very small copper coins, worth only a fraction of a penny. Calling his disciples to him, Jesus said, "I tell you the truth, this poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others. They gave out of their wealth, but she out of her poverty. She put everything in, all that she had to live on." Now, there's no way you can read this particular passage and not be challenged. And if this doesn't challenge you, then you're pretty hard-hearted, I think. Because here what we see is Jesus just watching people give. He's watching how generous they are. And like I say, in the temple, loads of different people from lots of different backgrounds came along. And he's watching people come along. And those who are wealthy, they give a lot of money and they kind of throw in large amounts. But then there's this poor widow woman who gives what is in comparison nothing really. It's hardly worth anything what she gives. It's a tiny amount of money. And yet what Jesus knows is he knows who she is, and he knows that what she's given is basically almost everything that she has. She's given it. And so what he says to his disciples is, come here. You see these people with lots of money. They gave out of their wealth, and they can give that, and it doesn't really affect them. It's not going to hurt them giving them that amount. In fact, they're still going to be able to live the lifestyle that they lived before giving that amount. It doesn't really make any difference to them. But you see this woman here, she has given something which means she won't be able to live the same life she was before she gave. It's sacrificial giving. And that's what I want to focus on today. Very often with our giving, it comes out of our comfort and keeps us in our comfortable place. We give comfortably. We give a little bit of what we've got. We give the bit that means we can still afford to live this particular lifestyle or buy those particular things or drive that particular car. We give very comfortably. Now, let's not pretend that we couldn't give more. The vast majority of us could. The vast majority of us actually could give a lot more than we do, and I include very much myself in that. If I was to compare the amount that I gave to charity with the amount that I spent on clothes, perhaps, or on household items, or on toys for my kids, or on things that, in the grand scheme of things, they're not actually necessary, they're just nice things to have, I think I know which one would win. I give, and yet my lifestyle isn't affected by my giving. It remains quite similar. I'm a comfortable giver. But in this passage, what we see is Jesus saying, hang on a minute. You see this woman here, she gave very sacrificially, and so what she gave is worth more, almost. These people, they gave out of their wealth, so it didn't really affect them, but she gave so much. There are times when we really need to be challenged about our giving, and I am talking about money. I am talking financially. We need to be challenged about where our money is going, what it's spent on, and what we give to. Now, I know that there are many of us who are very generous with our money, not just to the church, to various charities, and so on and so forth. But we still need to be challenged about it. And the truth is, it's one of the most difficult conversations to have is about money. People do not like talking about it. We don't like to challenge others about what they're spending. We don't like to be challenged about it. But Jesus doesn't leave room for that. He doesn't leave room for, well, don't have the awkward conversation because it's a bit difficult. Here he's saying we need to give out of a place where it affects us, where we are giving sacrificially, not out of our comfort. There's a real challenge here. It's difficult not to talk about the Church of England in this, because financially it's in a very difficult place. I know historically it hasn't been, and there's all those type of things, but actually historically our church is in quite a difficult place. The number of clergy is probably going to go down over the coming years. There's going to be some tough decisions to make. And it does basically come down to money that's available. And the truth is that many of us, and again, this isn't me preaching at you, this is preaching for all of us, because I include myself in this. The truth is, if I gave, say, £5, £10 more a week or something like that, the price that I pay to go for a coffee or, that type of thing, it would make a huge difference, actually. And it would mean that the ministry and the mission of this diocese, particularly in our churches, would be massively changed. We need to challenge ourselves about where we give and how we give, and we need to allow God to challenge us in that place as well, just as Jesus here is challenging. So we need to be open to be challenged and to not take it as defensiveness or criticism, but to go, you know what, I think you're right. I think I probably could give a bit more. I think I aren't giving particularly sacrificially. I'm giving in a way that's very comfortable for me and means that I maintain my lifestyle. We need to be challenged about money. We need to be challenged about where our finances are, about where we give, about how we give, and about what we give. What this passage shows us also is that it doesn't matter whether you are very wealthy or you are very poor. In Jesus' eyes, you are of the same value. You have the same opportunity to give towards God's mission. There isn't like a kind of discrepancy. And we need to be careful that we also do the same. That those people who we know have a status, authority, and wealth are so often the ones who make decisions and are seen as more important and treated as more important. In God's eyes, in Christ's eyes, there is no difference. And we've got to be careful that when we see somebody giving what they've got and how they've done it, we don't turn our nose up at it. And we don't just celebrate the massive gifts that we got, but we celebrate the person who puts 50p in. We have no idea whether that, like this widow, is all that they've got to give. We celebrate the person who gives whatever time that they have. We celebrate those people who give out of their poverty, not just those who give large donations out of their wealth. We need to be very careful about our attitude towards givers. So a lot for us to think about in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read the passage again, and then we're going to say the Lord's Prayer together, and then we will have our song, beautiful song. We're going to have When I Survey. We're going to have our song, and that song will bring our time together to a close. So I'm going to read the passage again today. It feels right to do that. So remember, Jesus is sat in the temple with his disciples, watching people give their offerings. Jesus sat opposite the place where the offerings were put and watched the crowd put their money into the temple treasury. Many rich people threw in large amounts, but a poor widow came and put in 2 very small copper coins, worth only a fraction of a penny. Calling his disciples to him, Jesus said, I tell you the truth. That poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others. They all gave out of their wealth, but she, out of her poverty, put in everything, all that she had to live on. That woman, well, in the eyes of Jesus, she's the hero of the story. She's the champion To all others, she's just a poor widow who's got not much to give. But to Christ, she gave more than all the others put together. Let's say the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. It's been wonderful to be with you once again. I'll be back here again on Wednesday. So I hope to catch up with you then, whenever you do catch up with these. Like I say, we're working our way through Mark's Gospel. We're going to, bring that to a close over the coming weeks. And then we'll take a little break. And then there's something new we're going to try, which is going to be quite exciting, I think. But it is wonderful to be with you. What we're going to do now to bring our time together to an end is we're going to listen to one of the most beautiful hymns. It's an old hymn, but it's stunningly wonderful. And the words that it says really bring us into that place of worship once again. So take care, stay safe, don't stumble over your words. Take care, stay safe. May you know God with you. And I'll see you on Wednesday once again.
When I survey the wondrous cross on which the Prince of Glory died, my richest gain I count but loss and poor contempt. On love demands my soul. My